This time last night, President Donald Trump was delivering his second State of the Union address, and today the country is doing a lot of talking about it and a lot of analyzing. We want to bring in Washington Post White House reporter Toluse Olorunnipa with us this evening. Thanks so much for being here. Let's start with your biggest takeaways from the night last night.
Yeah, we heard two different versions of the speech from President Trump. We heard at one point the president was trying to be very bipartisan, talking about compromise, talking about burying the hatchet and working with Democrats on issues of common concern, whether it's infrastructure or lowering the price of prescription drugs. But on the other hand, we heard the president going back to his very combative roots, talking about how Democrats should not try to investigate his administration, and also saying that Democrats should give him money for the border wall, something that they do not want to do, and saying that the crime and the problems on the border basically constitute a national crisis that needs very swift action by Congress.
You mentioned border security. Of course, his address comes on the heels of the partial government shutdown. The speech was delayed a week because of that. We know that February 15th deadline is now looming. This deal to reopen the government said to be temporary. So what do you make of where we potentially stand on another possible shutdown or a deal being reached by the 15th after last night's speech?
Well, Democrats and Republicans in Congress are meeting behind closed doors to try to hash out a deal. They are actually saying that they are optimistic that they could find a compromise between now and February 15th. But the big wild card in this entire process is President Trump. In the past, Democrats and Republicans have come together with a deal only to see that deal rejected by the president. So far, the president hasn't said whether he's willing to accept less than his desired goal of $5.7 billion for a wall, and maybe accept some border security and maybe lower amounts of money headed towards the border. And if the compromise comes out of this bipartisan group and the president rejects it, then we will be facing either another government shutdown or the prospect of President Trump declaring a national emergency and trying to bypass Congress and build a wall without getting money from the Congress.
Let's talk about some of the few moments that there seemed to be some bipartisan agreement on. There was the moment when the president recognized many of the female lawmakers in the room. There was that sea of white in the crowd. What did you make of that moment? We saw the applause from House Speaker. They both seem to be at least on the same page in recognizing that group. How significant do you think that was last night?
And it was very interesting to see the president acknowledge them and basically congratulate them for winning, but at the same time, many of them are coming to Congress looking to oppose his agenda, looking to stop him from doing what he's been doing for the past 2 years, and many of them feel that he has been taking the country in the wrong direction. So it was very interesting, a very unique moment to see the president acknowledging not only the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, the first female Speaker of the House, but also a record number of women who are in Congress, and many of them are looking to frustrate his agenda and keep him from moving forward with his policy. So it's a very interesting dynamic, and we saw that play out very interestingly on the floor of the House yesterday.
What do you think that the big takeaway for the American people should be, for people who were at home last night watching this address in their living rooms? What do you think we should all be looking ahead to or looking to potentially see from this administration in the coming weeks and months?
Yes, the American people should see that this is what divided government is going to look like for the next 2 years. It's going to be highly partisan. There are going to be a few areas where the two sides can come together and try to work out a deal, but for the most part, there's going to be a lot of acrimony between the Democrats and the Republicans. They are very far apart on policy. The president even said he will never allow the country to go and become a socialist country. The president did say he's willing to compromise on a few different issues, so there will be some bright spots of bipartisanship, but a lot of fighting, a lot of acrimony for the next 2 years.
The tension remains. All right, Toluse, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.